I give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the 10 elected members of the Security Council, namely Algeria, Greece, Guyana, Pakistan, Panama, the Republic of Korea, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, Somalia, and my own country, Denmark. Mr. President, as elected members, we represent every region of the world. Importantly, we represent the will and the expectations of the members of the General Assembly by whom we were elected. In electing us, they entrusted us with the solemn responsibility to maintain international peace and security. It is in this spirit and with this grave responsibility in mind that we, collectively and resolutely, present today's resolution. Mr. President, famine has been confirmed in Gaza. Not projected, not declared, confirmed. Desperate mothers are forced to boil leaves to feed their children. Fathers search the rubble for sustenance. People are killed as they try to get food to survive. A generation risks being lost not only to war, but to hunger and despair. Meanwhile, Israel has expanded its military operation in Gaza City, further deepening the suffering of civilians as a result. It is this catastrophic situation, this humanitarian and human failure, that has compelled us to act today. Mr. President, today we will take action on an important resolution. It focuses on 3 urgent and immediate demands. Demands that many member states have made time and time again. No more and no less. First, an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire in Gaza respected by all parties. Second, the immediate, dignified and unconditional release of all hostages held by Hamas and other groups. And third, that the government of Israel immediately and unconditionally lifts all restrictions on the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza and ensures its safe and unhindered distribution to the population in need of such assistance in line with international humanitarian law. Mr. President, this is the product of weeks of consultations. The sole intent of this resolution is to ease suffering and contribute to the end of this abhorrent war. So, colleagues, let this resolution send a clear message. A message that the Security Council is not turning its back on starving civilians, on the hostages, and the demand for a ceasefire. Let it say that we support humanitarian workers and health personnel struggling against impossible odds. That when a war is live-streamed around the world, daily and in graphic details, we have the decency to act. That international law matters. That humanitarian principles matter. That the principles of humanity enshrined in the UN Charter guide us. Mr. President, we, the 10 elected members of the Security Council, call on all Council members to vote in favor of this resolution and to uphold this Council's responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Denmark for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, U.S. opposition to this resolution will come as no surprise. It fails to condemn Hamas or recognize Israel's right to defend itself, and it wrongly legitimizes the false narratives benefiting Hamas, which have sadly found currency in this Council. Council members ignored when the United States made clear that this resolution was unacceptable. The Council instead adopted for performative action designed to draw a veto that extends Hamas terrorists and those who fund them and support them and gives them a lifeline. Let's recall that Hamas started this brutal conflict on October 7th, 2023, when it perpetrated the worst massacre and kidnapping of Jews since the Holocaust. To the approval of its supporters who took to the streets on October 8th to praise what Hamas had done, Hamas promises to repeat October 7th. Despite everything, Hamas has no regrets. The lives of Gaza's civilians in harm's way are mere tools in the project to destroy Israel. Hamas continues to hold 48 hostages. Those who remain alive are captive in a living hell. It has done so for 713 days. We have seen the chilling videos and images of how Hamas has starved the hostages. In this council, we have heard heart-rending testimony from freed hostages, how Hamas brutalized and sexually assaulted them during their captivity. Hamas is responsible for starting and continuing this war. Israel has accepted proposed terms that would end the war, but Hamas continues to reject them. This war could end today if Hamas freed the hostages and laid down its arms. This resolution has other serious defects beyond just failing to condemn Hamas. First, the United States has stressed since this conflict began that Israel has the right to defend itself. This resolution seeks an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire that would leave Hamas in a position to carry out future October 7th attacks, as it has threatened to do so many times. This resolution draws a dangerous false equivalence between Israel and Hamas. There can be no equating the two, full stop. The hostages in this resolution are a mere afterthought. The United States will never accept this. President Trump will never accept this. He has made clear all 48 hostages must be released now. This resolution also refuses to acknowledge and seeks to return to a failed system that has allowed Hamas to enrich and strengthen itself at the expense of civilians in need. This resolution wrongly references the IPC report with its flawed methodology, changed standards, and clear bias. Gaza has humanitarian needs because of Hamas, and because the international community turned a blind eye to the true use of the billions in aid that it provided. Israel takes clear risks by working every single day with the United States and regional partners to deliver aid to civilians, as we witnessed today. As Ambassador Huckabee said, initial reports show a terrorist arrived at Albany Crossing, driving an aid truck intended for Gaza, and murdered 2 Israeli soldiers. This heinous act betrays the trust in humanitarian efforts. We offer our condolences to the bereaved IDF families. This resolution fails to recognize the reality on the ground that there has been a meaningful increase in the flow of humanitarian aid. However, the UN's own data shows that approximately 85% of UN aid sent to Gaza since May 19th has been intercepted. We must ensure that this aid reaches the civilians who need it, rather than sustaining the Hamas terrorists. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF, supports that goal, delivering over 167 million meals to date to those in need, rather than to Hamas. GHF works well, and it is untainted by the extreme failure of other organizations at the UN. The UN and the Council members should support the GHF and other mechanisms, including airdrops by Jordan, the UAE, and international partners facilitating deliveries of food and other supplies into Gaza. These mechanisms have delivered humanitarian assistance and other goods to those in need and denied Hamas the supply on which they have come to rely. So, the United States rejects this unacceptable resolution. It is beyond time that Hamas release every single hostage now and surrender immediately. The United States will continue to work with its partners to bring an end to this horrific conflict for the sake of the people of Gaza, who deserve a future free from Hamas, and the whole Middle East, which is ready to move into a new chapter of peace and prosperity. For these reasons, the United States of America will vote against the draft resolution and urges delegations to join us in voting against it.
I thank the representative of the United States for her statement. I shall put the draft resolution to the vote now.